What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Power Play with CJ. I kind of brought it up yesterday, but now it actually, because of comments or piece written, it has more to do with hockey than it did yesterday, and that's Donald Sterling's ignorant comments regarding race and now the sport of hockey got dragged into it. Because LA Times writer or columnist Sandy Banks wrote a piece that scathed Sterling, that it was rightfully so, but her first paragraph was, quote, let the real estate magnate and Clippers owner take his millions and buy a hockey team. Then he won't have to worry about black superstars showing up for games on his girlfriend's arm. Well, obviously, Magic Johnson was one that was dissed, by Sterling, wrongfully so, and, everything Sterling said was repulsive and disgusting. And, just to that statement right there is ignorant and repulsive, not to the level of what Sterling said, but just to suggest that, racism, indirectly suggest that racism is acceptable in hockey, and that there are no black superstars in the game of hockey. Would have helped Sandy if she did a little bit of research. Jerome McGinley, PK Subban, Seth Jones was number 4 pick in the draft last year. Wayne Simmons played for the Kings. Now he's one hell of a player in Philadelphia. I mean, maybe look up and maybe reword it and not just sound so ignorant against a whole fan base that and obviously hockey's not perfect. I mean, we remember what happened with the Joel Ward overtime goal against the Bruins, and I was repulsed by that. I wasn't repulsed that he scored against the Bruins. I was repulsed that there was so much hatred and vitriol against the player just because of his skin color. And I was I'm not gonna say ashamed to be a Bruins fan, but I was ashamed to be associated with such closed-minded people. And just to suggest that hockey is one of the most accepting sports in the world. I mean, you look at the way. I mean, the Bruins had a black player before the Red Sox did, and Willie O'Ree. And I just think for her to say that is, it's insensitive. First of all, it's comparing apples and oranges, for one. I actually read the piece. She really did rip Sterling a new one, deservedly so, but for her to bring in the sport of hockey that had nothing to do with it, and to suggest that, the owners in hockey would allow this kind of behavior to happen, for one, Jeremy Jacobs is an asshole, but I don't think he's a racist. I mean, I think there's enough wrong with him as it is, but I wouldn't say he's a racist. I think the Ilitch family in Detroit is far from being racist. I think Vidic down here in Tampa, Florida is, anything but a racist. James Dolan owns the Knicks, for God's sakes, So, for her to say this is wrong. And, I'd like to see an apology to people in the hockey community. And also, to say there are no black superstars, what do you call Jerome McGinley or PK Subban, who won the Norris Trophy last season? They're both black and superstars. That's what both of them are. Obviously not as prevalent as in the game of basketball, but just to suggest they don't exist is ignorant as well. And I hope again that the LA Times kind of tells her, what are you doing? And it's and I'd like to thank Katie Nolan, my fellow Masshole, Fox Sports. Crowd goes wild for tweeting it out, bringing it to my attention, because it's guilting the wrong people. It's trying to make people feel guilty because their sport doesn't have a lot of black players. And I want to see good hockey, regardless of who's out there. And I love Seth Jones, and as a Bruins fan, it's hard not to love Jerome McGinley for what he's done this season. PK Subban, I want to say I love him, but he's an amazing hockey player and someone that the game's definitely one of the game's better personalities for sure. And I think he takes too much heat, and you can even blame. I think a lot of his criticism stem from race. And if she really wanted to make a difference, she could even divulge into that. But to just say there are no black superstars and to suggest that hockey would be okay with an owner spewing this kind of vitriol is ignorant and wrong. And I hope Miss Banks takes a look at herself and says, maybe I shouldn't have said that, because it's you're bringing more people into it, that you're trying to make more enemies when everyone's on the side that I think all sane-minded people on the side that Donald Sterling's an asshole and needs to be dealt with accordingly. But we'll see what happens. Don't fight ignorance with more ignorance is the bottom line. But anyway, that's like this episode of the Power Play with CJ on the ignorant comments in the LA Times. Stay tuned for episodes for the playoffs and beyond. Later, guys.